Okay, welcome students, faculty, staff, community members to the Student Equity Speaker Series. My name is Christina Guillen. I teach in the English department. I am part of the English 105 AX team. AX means accelerated. How many of you are from 105 AX? Give me a shout out, great. Yeah, I like that enthusiasm. I'll be introducing Alicia. There will be, as I mentioned before, a talk. You will be able to see her website, the scrolling pictures, and she'll tell you more about that as well. We will have the Q&A, as I mentioned, and finish the event with a book signing in the back. We have refreshments, as you can see. And I'd like to thank several people who contributed to this event. First of all, the Student Equity Initiative. They sponsored this event. They provided the food and all the support to make it happen. Special thanks to Shauna Hagman, Catherine Kachada, and Rihanna Wang. I'd also like to thank the 105 AX team. And it's an extensive list here, but I'm going to focus on Nicole Glick. She's the coordinator of the 105 AX program. Other faculty who teach the course, the embedded tutors who are in our 105 classes, and then, of course, students who participate in the program. And I'd also like to thank the Creative Writing Committee because the committee is sponsoring the Alicia Cass Personal Essay Contest. All of you probably have a bookmark in your hands. This is an event that's so exciting for us. We've sponsored it in the past, and I'd like to thank Jason Kassem for setting it up for us, Creative Writing Committee faculty member. We've set up a portal to submit your personal essays on how writing is empowering and transformative, which is really what Alicia Cass's talk is all about today. Let's see. I had this long list of things to make sure I cover everything. I think I do. It's time for the introduction. It is such an honor to introduce Alicia Cass today and welcome her back to LBCC. In 1999, Alicia took my English 105 class and completed a time management schedule on the first day of class. She came up to me and said, "I can't take this class." I looked at her schedule. That semester, she had registered for 16 units, planned to work 35 hours, and was the primary caretaker for her 6 children. I'll repeat that, 6 children, most under the age of 13. She calculated her commute from LA to Long Beach and reached a conclusion. English 105 would have to wait. I insisted that she come back the next semester, and she did, after adjusting her work schedule and registering for fewer units. She received an A in 105 that semester, then proceeded to take my English 1 and English 3 courses, acing those too. Alicia worked closely with my amazing colleague, Margaret Shannon, who was the writing director at the time, writing center director at the time. Margaret knew that she had tremendous potential and recommended that she apply to USC. Even though Alicia doubted herself, Margaret reassured her as they worked on her personal statement. It was then that Margaret and I learned about Alicia's upbringing and her transformative journey to college success. Alicia submitted her application with this beautifully crafted personal statement and was awarded a full Norman Topping Scholarship to USC. Yes. That alone is the transformative power of writing. She completed her bachelor's in sociology, then her master's in social work, and received numerous recognitions, including USC African American Honor Society, the Trojan Recognition Award, the USC McDuffie Award. Currently, Alicia is a full-time social worker, giving back to her community by working in the Department of Children and Family Services and becoming an adjunct lecturer teaching Social Work 350, Adolescent Gang Intervention at USC. It did not surprise me when I learned that in her free time, Alicia decided to write her memoir, Metamorphosis: The Butterfly Experience. Her unflinching account of loss, trauma, and hope has caused quite a stir since its publication in January 2017. The Butterfly Experience is now a required text for 3 courses at USC. Combined with the work of her foundation, the Metamorphosis Experience, Alicia has read from her memoir at numerous events throughout California, inspiring young people to transform their lives and succeed in school. Whenever students tell me that they're struggling in my class, I remind them about Alicia Cass. If Alicia did it, so can you. I talk so much about Alicia that one of my students once said to me, "Okay, I get it. She had 6 kids and still got an A." It's one thing for me to gently remind students about Alicia's determination to succeed. It's quite another to listen to her story of transformation. So please join me in welcoming LVCC's own Alicia Cass.
Good morning, good morning. How you guys doing? So glad to see you here. So we're gonna start with a little exercise. And this exercise, I had to learn kind of the hard way. So everybody stand up. Everybody up? Still early on a Friday, huh? Wait for that Saturday. I want you to start clapping. So here's the thing. I don't want you to stop. So I want you to continue to clap because I'm going to tell you something. Are you guys still clapping? Ready? This is what you're going to learn. You're going to applaud yourself. You're not going to wait for anyone else to applaud you. You're going to learn how to encourage yourself because when you're in school, not everybody believes that you're going to make it. So what I had to learn to do was to encourage myself. I had to clap for myself. Some of my family members didn't think I was going to make it because I'm an ex-gang member. Some of my friends didn't think I was going to make it because I've been to jail. So you have to learn how to clap for yourself. Don't wait on your professors to clap for you. Don't wait on your family members. Don't wait on your bae or your boo. Learn how to clap for yourself. And that's what I had to learn the hard way. Because if you wait on someone else to applaud you, that probably is never going to happen. And if they don't applaud you, you're going to stop. And the reason why I need you to clap for yourself is because you've already determined that you're going to make it. How do I know you're going to make it? Because you're here this morning. So clap a little longer. Come on. This ain't for me. I don't need a hand clap. I need you to encourage yourself. Tell yourself you're going to make it. Okay, you guys can have a seat. One thing I learned when I was in college, when I was at USC particularly, I learned I was like the golden child, the star child. I had 6 kids. I was on the welfare. I was on Section 8. And I was like, this is it. I'm the poster child. But what I learned was not everybody was happy for me. That was a shock because, see, no one told me that. They didn't tell me everyone was going to be happy because of my success. They didn't tell me that people were going to be jealous of what you guys, younger people, would say, throw shade. I had to figure that out the hard way, and that's family members included. So what I'm going to do is I kind of wrote this down. I've had a little family dynamics happened a few months ago. And so when Professor Guillen reached out to me regarding this event, we had been talking about it for some while. I just lost my son in September. He was 21. He's his twin. And so I had to make a decision. Do I come and speak and uplift you, or do I stay home and continue to cry? I said, I'm going to do both. I'm going to cry, I'm going to get up, and then I'm going to go. And those are some of the decisions you're going to have to make. You're going to have some life drastic changing situations sometime, and you're still going to have to push. You're still going to have to show up. You're still going to have to get up. And please hear me well. Please take care of yourself, but you still have to go. You still have to get up. You still have to make this journey your own journey. And so when I decided to come back to school, I had 6 kids. I was an ex-gang member, I was an ex-drug dealer, I was on the welfare, and I was on housing. And so when I decided that I wanted my GED, because I got tired of telling my kids to do their homework because you need an education, and it hit me, you're telling them to do something that you haven't done. And I don't know, I grew up in an older generation that when your parents said do something, they didn't explain that to you, you just did it. So they would always say, clean your room up, clean your room up. And I found telling my kids, clean your room up. And I felt that way paralleling to education. You're telling them to do something, and you're not doing it. You're saying clean your room up, but your room is dirty. And when we was younger, you couldn't tell your parents their room was dirty. You wanted to. You walked past, how about your room ain't dirty? You mumbled it back in the day. You can't say it like you can say it now. Wasn't safe. Don't worry, I work for children's services. And so my thing was, I had to show them. And so I decided that I wanted to come back to school. So then they had a GED program at Long Beach. And I went and took my GED at the PCC campus. And when I took it, I stopped and I looked around. I said, I want this. I want to go to college. I don't want welfare to be my last stop. I don't want people to remember me that I'm on Section 8 and food stamps. And see, it wasn't EBT, everybody eat better today. You actually at the food stamps, you had to peel out the book and hold up the line because they had to count them out. And the lady behind you was upset because you still on like your stamp number 2. So things have changed dramatically, but that's not what I wanted for myself. I didn't want my kids to remember me as going down to the county building. I got that mean, nasty social worker. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Act like it's state money, and it's not. I didn't want that. I wanted my kids to see something different, but I knew I had to do something. So when I came here, I was so excited. I'm like, I'm gonna go to college. And I remember going home, and I was telling my family, and here's where the shade come. I was like, and I'm gonna go to college. They was like, you have 6 kids. How you gonna go to college? How you gonna do that? And I'm thinking, aren't you guys supposed to be happy for me? Then when I was going back and forth to jail, it's talking about me. When I was fist fighting, selling drugs, now that I wanna go to college is still a problem. And what I've learned is, and that's why I was teaching you how to applaud yourself, sometimes you're gonna get to places that family and friends and boos and bays will not get to. And they just not gonna come out and say, we're not happy for you, but they will impede your progress. They will keep you up late at night arguing on the phone and you're too tired to do your work, if anybody know what I'm talking about. I ain't trying to out nobody. But that's what it is. It's an internal jealousy because you're doing something that they're not doing. It's an internal jealousy because you've taken the courage to say, I want to take control of my life. So now I had to face my family and deal with the fact that they really aren't that happy that I'm going to college. And then there's the mother's guilt. Oh my God, I'm gonna be at school and who's gonna have my kids? And I remember one day my pastor said the same people would have had your kids if you had a job. He said, what's the difference? And so I had to stop guilting myself and realize if I wanted something better, I had to do better. And it didn't matter what anybody thought. I had to relinquish and forgive myself for my past, whether my family and or my friends forgave me or they wouldn't. They had what we call selective memory because they always remembered who I used to be. But they hadn't seen who I metamorphed into, who I transformed to be, because all they saw me was the little girl always cussing and fighting. But I had to make a change for my kids. I didn't have any fathers in the house. I was a single mother with 6 kids. Literally, my oldest daughter's father was murdered when I was pregnant. So we were both gang members. We were from the same gang, a different set. They murdered him. I was 4 months pregnant. So it was something that I had to do and I had to show. So when I decided to come, I looked at the little roster, was taking classes. I met a counselor called Mary Lou Fitzgerald. She was amazing. So she would take me in and she would explain what it meant to transfer. I had no idea what she was talking about. I never knew I would end up at USC. I just knew I wanted my GED. I wanted a high school diploma and I wanted to take some classes. So I was starting there and I remember taking classes, and I don't know about you guys, when I started, I was at the bottom of the bottom of the bottom, truly bottom, for math. So I walk around and hide my math book because, we compare ourselves to other people. What math you in? What English you in? Do you guys do that? Don't be ashamed. I did. But like, what English you in? You in English 2 or you in math 805? And I think then the bottom was math 805. So I hid my book. But I got an amazing math instructor. Her name was Linda Bridge. She was the math department of math and engineering. And she used to tell me, Alicia, math is like English. And I'm like, no, math is numbers. She said, you have to read and able to do math. She said, you have to take notes. And I'm like, take notes in math? Don't you just write on the board? She said, no. And she taught me, as long as you can read, you can do math. And I remember being in that program, and I'm comparing myself. And I'm a pivot. I'm going to look at my paper because I want to make sure I hit these points. The road to college. I was in a certain lane, right? But I'm looking at everyone else's lane. So sometimes we look like we should be going faster. We should be getting over. We should get on the 405. I should be on the 110. Have anybody ever, by a show of hands, been driving and your lane seems extremely slow, but you ready to act up, right? You like, if they don't hurry up, I got places to be. And what do? You jump to the next lane. And as soon as you jump to the next lane, what happens? The other lane you got out of sped up. You're like, I could have stayed in that lane. Why did I jump over? So now you mad twice because because you done left your place and the person you was behind is 15 cars ahead of you. And you could be mad at you. That's what college is like. You have to stay in your own lane. It doesn't matter if it looks like they're going further or they're going faster, they're going to get to their destination first. It's not your destination. Your lane is taking you somewhere else. And so when I took Linda Bridges' class, and I had some colleagues and there, some friends, and they were like, oh, we're gonna do math this, and I was sitting there hot, right? I'm like, oh, then this math, and then it was called Math 110. So we all made it to Math 110. I was like, yeah, hey, I'm gonna do this. Got in that math class, I didn't know what he was saying. I was like, huh? And then Professor Schroeder, he was so sweet. And every day I would meet him after class, like, I don't know what you're talking about. So finally I met with Linda Bridge. She said, you need to go back. I was like, go back where? She said, we're having a Math 110 class. We're divided in an A and B. She said, you probably need to break it down in 2 sessions. And I'm thinking to myself, does she know how old I am? Because I felt I was real old back in the day. I turned 48 this Saturday. And so I was like, I can't go back. I need to go forward. And so she said, you need to consider that. So what did I do? I went back and I took Math 110, A and B, right? Everybody else was coming with their next step, I believe it was Math 130. And then statistics. And they were balling. I'm sitting there. I'm the only one who had to go back. And so I completed it. And when it was time for me to go to Math 130, I applied to be a SI leader. It used to be a supplemental instructor here. It was basically you were tutoring, low-key, but you didn't want them to know you were kind of tutoring. You were helping. Well, guess who was the teacher? Guess who showed up in my class? The same colleagues or friends that were in my Math 110 class that took it ahead of me, and I had to go back, I now tutored them. So when they walked in, it was 4 of them. The look on their face. So although it looked like my lane wasn't getting me there faster because they were ahead of me, they had to pull over on the side of the road because they could not get to the destination where they were. And guess what? The little car that looked like it was putt-putting, I'm now their tutor. Oh, the shade when they walked in that classroom. It was like, how you get ahead? I had to go back. And what am I saying to you? Sometimes it's okay to take a step back. Sometimes you don't have to be the first one to complete or the finish. Oh, and let me give you a side note about tests. Raise your hand if you have been in class and taken a test and someone finished before you. Raise your hand. Okay? We're going to have an honesty session in here. This therapy. How many of you have felt bad that you didn't finish first? Raise your hand. How many of you have worried that you're the second, third, or last person to finish? I'm raising my own hand. You know what a professor let me in on? Generally, the person that finished first quit. They didn't know the answers. So psychologically, they're psyching us out because we're thinking, man, they're done. We still can't get off question number 5, and I don't know about question number 6, and they're turning. My professor said a lot of those papers that turned in, they did the multiple choice, best guess answer, and they quit. But because we don't know what lane it is, it looks like they got finished before we did. When in actuality, they got off the freeway. And who knows what collision that was when they turned that paper in. So that's why we have to know what lane we're in and where we're going. And then it was time for English, because when I came to Long Beach City, because I decided I wanted to transfer, everyone knows math and English, everybody ready to fight over. Right? Everybody wants those classes because those are your transferable classes. And so I remember meeting Professor Guillen, and her class was the hot spot. It was like the club back in the day. Everybody lined out sitting. So I walked past everybody because guess what? I had already registered because I heard she was one of the best. So I registered, I got and took my seat, and I'm looking. And so they lined up to see who was going to drop. So they had a roll. So, in case people couldn't commit or whatever, they signed up on the wait list. So that was her line out her door. And so she gave us a sheet. And she said, I need you to know how many hours you need to study to be in this classroom. She said, so I need to figure out this time management sheet. So I was like, shoot, cool, I ain't giving up my spot. And I filled it out, turned it in, and the next class session I came back and she called me up and she was like, yeah, I want to, talk to you about your time management sheet. I'm thinking, shoot, I'm giving up my hot spot. She said, when you gonna eat or sleep? I said, what? She said, you forgot to put you were going to eat or sleep on your time management sheet. She said, so maybe it's not the time to take my class. So I'm sitting there. We still got the wait list class waiting outside. They waiting for somebody to crash and burn out off the freeway. Looked like that was going to be me. And I had to graciously withdraw and let that spot go because I wasn't ready and I did not have the time. And so when I made the time and I took a few more classes, I came back, I enrolled, and I kept going with her. But sometimes you have to pull off. Assess your vehicle. Do you have enough gas to go? Is your transmission working? Sometimes we have something called life, where people look at us and we have situations going on where we look like sometimes everything is all right, and sometimes everything is not all right in our personal lives. And it's okay to detour. So you can't look at the other cars once again and say, they're still going forward. So I got off the freeway, I withdrew from her class, and I came back, and I succeeded. And she ended up sending me to the writing center where I met Margaret Shannon. And so we're in there. Margaret Shannon is reading one of my essays. It was for extra points. Here's my thing. Side note. Pull over. Always ask for help. Because if you knew it, you wouldn't be here. That's what I used to tell myself. I had a math teacher at one time, when I swear I know that man hated me, it was all right. Because every time he turned around to write on the board, by the time he got done with the problem, my hand was up. I'm not letting you go forward until you teach me. He was like, okay, well, it's on the board. We can discuss it after class. No, sir. I'm too old to discuss it out of class, and I got 6 babies at home waiting for me to come cook. I need help right now. And what I realized after class, the younger students kept saying, thank you. We didn't understand anyway. So guess who became the star of asking questions? So when I came in, they would give me their questions like, we didn't get number 5, and number 3 didn't make no sense. I'm like, I got you, player. That man was sick of me. I believe he was a substitute, though. My hand went up. You ain't moving on without me. You're going to answer my questions. Ask for help. Go to the writing center. Go to the math lab. Dr. Mendenuri, he was in the math lab. He gave me a math CD. I would go home and work extra hard. And I'm going to get back to Margaret Shannon. I had a guy in my class named Frank, and he had an accident, and he had to come back and be retrained. He was smart. And so I would go in math class, and I would raise my hand, Linda Bridge, raise my hand. This doesn't make sense, right? So we would come back the next day, and we'd do a quizzy, and she would go, once again, Alicia class has the highest score. And one day I heard someone say, liar, liar. I'm thinking, ooh, it's a fight in here. Who about to fight? Liar. He was talking to me. So he's pointing to me in class, liar. So finally, I'm like, where I come from, player, those are fighting words. No, I got a little old and I got 6 kids, but I think I still had a few in me. So after class, he walked up to me and I said, you call me a liar. We don't know each other. And what he said was, you come in and play like you don't know. Because he was very competitive. He was an engineer. And then when it's time to take the test, you get the highest score. I said, well, here's the thing, Frank. I said, math is like Spanish to me. I don't understand. But what I do is when I leave, I go home with that CD I got from Dr. Mendenuri, and I study and I come back. So no, sir, I'm not a liar. And we became friends. But had I not went to the math lab, have I not talked to Dr. Mendenuri, then my grades wouldn't have been that great. Get the help. So back to Margaret Shannon, when she went and she began to read my essay, she was like, this is amazing. And I was already accepted into Long Beach State for their social work program. It was an impacted program, meaning they were squeezing people. They couldn't even fit anyone else. And she said, I think you're wasting your time. I'm like, oh my God, my writing ain't that good. She ain't wasting my time. She said, you need to go apply to UCLA or USC. And I'm thinking, not me. I got 6 kids. I'm on the welfare. I'm on Section 8. I got food stamps. I got 6 kids waiting at home. It's big game, but I got a jail record. What she mean go to apply to UCLA or USC? She says, no disrespect to Long Beach State, but I think you're wasting your time. She said, you're smart. So I went home. At that time, I was married. I told my husband, of course, they double think I'm crazy. You got 6 kids and you want to go to school, and now you have the nerve enough to apply for USC or UCLA? I said, yeah, my professor said that she believes I can do it. So what did I do? I opened up UCLA transfers. Deadline was closed, and I applied to USC. I called Long Beach State. I hung up. I said, I'm not going to give up that spot till I know. Finally, USC was so behind because everybody wanted to go there. They were so behind. Long Beach started calling me, are you coming or not? We got somebody who wants this spot. And I'm thinking, if I let Long Beach go and USC doesn't accept me, that means I don't have a place to go to college. So I thought about what she said, and I called Long Beach back and said, I'm not taking it. The lady was like, are you sure? I said, I'm positive. I'm not going to take the spot. USC is still running behind. I'm sweating now. My family looking like, you done turned Long Beach down thinking you all that, USC ain't called you back. You know how they give you that side shade, So finally, I kept bugging them. I would call them. They'd be like, hi, Miss Cass. They knew my voice. Hi, Miss Cass. I bugged them. You gonna let me in? And finally, the man said, act excited. And I was just amazed. And that's where my college journey, the second half, began. But I can honestly say my foundation came from here. Because if I didn't have the Margaret Shannons and the Christina Gins, and I didn't have the Dr. Mendenures and the Linda Bridges and the Mr. Ryan and all those people who believed in me, the Mary Lou Fitzgerald who took me to her house. I ain't saying that your professors have to take y'all to their house or nothing, but I was in Naples. Has anyone ever been to Naples in Long Beach? Man, I told my kids, act like you've been somewhere. Act like you've been somewhere. Close your mouth. They was like, oh, mama, you see that. I said, no, we've been places before, sweetie, remember? And Mary Lou was so proud of me. She was just, this is my student from Long Beach City. These are her children. And so it also gave my kids a new perspective because we had only been in the hood life. We had only been in those parameters at that period and point. So they hadn't seen anything different. So you never know what your professors or counselors can offer you. And like I said, not necessarily taking home. May not be safe nowadays, I don't know. But they do have something to offer you, sometimes outside of academics. Sometimes they have life experience and advice that they can help you with. So never be afraid to ask for or take the help. What am I saying? Where are those professors out with this? Everybody raise your hand. Practice raising your hand to get on your professor's nerves. Get your hand. Come on. Everybody raise your hand. Hi. It doesn't say that you're the least intelligent person in the room. It says you're the most courageous person in the room because it takes courage to raise your hand, especially when the people around you won't raise it. And at the end of the day, you're going to find out they had the same question you had, but more. And you're going to become that person that they depend on to raise your hand. And I became that go-to girl. So I'm here this morning to encourage you. I'm here this morning to say, keep going. I'm here this morning to say, you're going to make it. And you can have anything you want. The only person that can stand in your way is you. It's like kryptonite, but you it. No one else has access to your powers. No one else has access to your mind. No one else has access to your roadmap. No one else has the access or the keys to your car or vehicle to get you there but you. So if you listen to those who say you can't make it, or you listen to those who sidewind because they really don't want you to make it, or you listen to those who say, you know what, if I was you, I'd have went to a different college. I'd have started off at the university. You notice they're not there, right? Isn't that funny that people give us advice for things that they've never done? And the crazy part is we listen. We're like, yeah, man, I should have chose UCLA. And I'm like, wait a minute. You didn't even go to college. Sometimes you have to talk to yourself because sometimes it will make no sense once you sit down and you lay it down on the line. And so when I went to USC, I did my undergrad, I did my master's. I got into a doctorate program for Ross Sears School of Education, Educational Psychology. I postponed my doctorate to finish my book. So in the point of finishing my book, I started teaching at USC. I was moonlighting, High County of Los Angeles. And also just promoting my book. And so the skills that I learned from Christina Ging and Martin Shannon about annotating in the margins of your book, do they still tell you that? Write up your book? And then some people are like, man, I'm trying to sell it back at the end of the semester. Can't have all that writing in it. But it's going to teach you in life to pay attention to the details, the highlight. I remember I took a class. It was a Jewish class. And the rabbi was so funny. He was like, how do you know this? You know, and the one girl asked me, is it a prerequisite for this class? No. I said, one, not only do I read, but I pay fine attention because when you begin to write, your body remembers it. So for me, I couldn't take other people's notes because I don't remember writing it down. So if I miss class, please rewrite your own notes. Your body is a recorder. It remembers what you write. So when you look at someone else's notes and you go to study, you're like, I don't remember that because you didn't write it. So annotating taught me to remember things. It taught me to pay attention to something I would probably read over and read over and didn't get the concept. So my book, one day we're gonna be on Oprah because that is my goal. People be laughing. I said, oh, I ain't playing. I said, Oprah gonna see Alicia one day. And I'll be like, anybody in the audience know Oprah? Call Oprah and tell her I'm looking for her and Tyler Perry, because that book, we crazy. Our family was crazy. All that trauma. So you have to have goals that are crazy, because if they're regular goals, they ain't goals. They just conversation. And that's what I've learned, not to have everyone put an input in what they think or where they think I can go. You can go anywhere that you want to go. You can do anything you want to do. Like I said, the only person that has that kryptonite to stop you, Superman and Superwomen, is you. And so what I'm going to do now, I hope I covered everything, because I want you guys to ask me some questions. I love to have conversations. I'm not that one person that just want to talk and hear myself. That's boring. I want some questions. So if anybody have any questions, please. If you're shy, I'll have my son bring the mic to you. Come on, boy, he working for free. Come on. This is my son, Marquise. He was one of the twins. This is my baby. Get that mic right there, sweetheart. You know, it's a shame you go from being hip, gang member, thug, fabulous, and then you get old. I'd be like, baby, what was that saying? What was that saying you tell me? You wasn't shooting with me in the gym. So in other words, if you tell people, if you weren't on this ride with me, when I make it, don't expect to come with me. So, any questions? Okay. Okay, go ahead. Oh, okay. You go her? Okay. My book is my memoir of my life. And so what I found out in going back to school was trauma. I didn't know what trauma meant. And so, you know, I came from a home that we were physically and sexually abused. I come from a generation of alcoholism and drug abuse. And I didn't understand how that played out in my life, why I made the choices I made. Why did I join a gang at 13? Why was I selling drugs at 12? Why did I run away at 15? Well, I was in and out of foster care. And so when I went back to school and I got my master's, even before my master's, I started to understand human behavior. And when I began to understand human behavior, I knew I was going to write the book. And so I wrote the book to parallel my beginning and my end, my transformation. And what I saw in that book, I saw generational and cultural trauma, that culturally we are traumatized. And generational, we pass down things in trauma that we shouldn't do. We keep deadly secrets that we should not keep. And those are the key things. So when I wrote the book, I thought I was writing the book for me, and I realized I was writing the book for someone else, because I had to be the person to get naked, meaning I had to say that I've been molested by my family members. I had to be the one to say I was beat, because there are so many people that won't say it and they can't say it. And so my book gives that person that voice, and that voice within their family to say no more. No more. It's so funny, when I was writing the book, everybody in my family was sweating bullets. And I read something, I can't remember who wrote it. The person said, if you wanted people to speak well of you, you should have acted better. So in other words, what you did is not on me, it's on you. But my goal is writing the book to help and free other people. And I give a disclaimer, yes, I'm crazy in the book. People read the book and they email me, it's like, this was you? Ah, yeah, that was me shooting at people, sorry. That was me.
Did you do it with 6 children?
Well, I got to be quite honest, man. I done left a kid or 2 before. So, okay, Marquise. We used to go to the daycare up street. Long Beach was an amazing resource. And so some days I get on the freeway and I'm heading home, because I lived in Los Angeles. And at the time, the director was named Cindy Klingbeil. She'll call me, hey, Alicia. I'm like, hey, Miss Klingbeil. She's like, you know, the twins and Raven are still at the center. I was like, what? Because my sister used to help me with babysitting too. So there were times I thought my kids were at home and I left them down the street. So I would turn around, my bad, Miss Klingbeil, I'm on my way. You know, it was just something in me that I knew I had to do it. And I had some supportive services. And sometimes it doesn't come from our direct family. And we have to let that go, because it makes us angry. But it also halts your transition and your journey on your road, because we expect our families to be in the car with us and to help us, and they're not. And so what I've learned to do and get the help from there. I had joined church. They became my family because a lot of my family didn't help me because they didn't believe in my journey. They didn't believe that I was going to get there. They're like, you haven't been, I dropped out of school when I was 15. Here you are 28 and you finna really go back with 6 kids and do it. It seemed impossible in their eyes because the journey didn't look doable. So you have to get a support system sometimes from without. And guess what? It's okay. Y'all give you my number when I'm done. It's okay. Go outside and get your village. Sometimes our family won't be our village, nor will they understand us. So it was a hard road. It was difficult. I'm not going to say that, but it's doable, and you can do it. Get the daycare, whatever they're getting, show up, sign up, EOPS. I was there. I was there asking for everything this college said that they can offer me to make sure that I transition. Now I look at my paycheck, and I be like, how did I live off $800 and some food stamps off the welfare? How did I do it? Because once you cross on the other side to your career and to your job, you go back and go, wow, so all your pain and all your hurt from those who are not in the car with you, it'll be well worth it. I promise you it will.
Thank you, Alicia, for coming and sharing your life with us. Excuse my voice. I love you. You fuel our days, my days here many times. I love your passion. You make me remember that passion is worth demonstrating publicly. So thank you. I have a question. I think you've already answered it, but I would like for you to help students in the room and who may watch this later, help them to better understand how they can navigate or better distinguish between systems that support. I'm a classroom teacher now, and I get a lot of essays where students mistake the educational system with other systems, and they'll talk quite generally about systems blocking us. But I've heard you today reveal that you've really got to keep your eyes open with discerning which is supportive and which is a hindrance. But some of the systems you've named are school, support systems, church, family, and social services, a system that I've also experienced, and I would like for you to maybe talk more directly about these systems. Some students think like social services and schools are against us, and often they feel like they are, but because I work in this system, I would like for you to help me help them not see school as a hindrance. Also, there are the Franks. There are plenty of Franks out there. As we move towards group work more, there's always a Frank in the room trying to drag you down as we move towards group work. So now we don't need the naysayers in our house. We've got them in the classroom and in our groups. So someone like me, 57 now, I aged the week you aged. I look a fool now, being passionate. You were younger, I was younger, and we worked one-on-one. But when I'm passionate in a classroom, I often look a fool. Yeah. So I would like for you to maybe talk about the role of passion and how to find passion in systems that we expect to be dispassionate.
So here's the thing. For women and women of color, passion is seen as angriness and aggressiveness. I've been at USC, and I tell you, I'm passionate in the room, and they're looking like, oh my God, did she raise her hand? Did she say that? This is my existence. This is my everyday life. This is what I've lived. This is my experience. So a lot of them are coming from book knowledge. I say I'm coming from hood knowledge. And so having that passion, people often misunderstand passion because people are passive. You know, and I refuse to be passive, especially when it comes to my education and where I want to go. That's another thing. Sometimes just hit the gas. It's okay. It may seem like you're the speed demon, but passion will carry you when you're tired. Passion will carry you when your heart is broke like mine right now, but because I'm passionate, that's why I can get up before you today and still give this speech. Passionate will be your drive. That's your soul. How passionate, how bad do you want it? And as far as systems, I watch systems help and hinder. And I've always been taught in my neighborhood not to trust anybody outside our African-American community. That's not so. When I was here, I had more help from people that were not African-American than I did that were African-American. As you see, you're not African American. Christina Ginn, Dr. Mendenure, Linda Bridge, not one person, not Mary Lou Fitzgerald was African American. Not saying African Americans wouldn't help me, but I think sometimes we have to open up our minds and get the help where we can get the help from. Because a lot of us, like I said, in our systems, in our community of color, we were taught, don't trust nobody. Get the help. Those women got me through. I used to sit at Mary Lou Fitzgerald. She's an older white lady, and her dog Murphy. And my son, remember poor Murphy? My kids harassed that dog to death. But she brought me into her home, and I slept in her bed, and I cried when I didn't know what I was going to do. I cried when I didn't know if I can finish. I cried in that woman's house when my own family didn't understand because I was too passionate. They didn't understand that dynamic. How you going to pay for USC, as one person told me. I said, hopefully financial aid and some scholarships. You know, so I think sometimes we have to look at the systems and, as you say, make a difference and to accept the systems. Not everybody is against us. You know, what I found is I guess I'm a true gang member through and through, because when I got to USC, that now became my gang. So I'm passionate, and what I found, a lot of people at USC, we were passionate. So we clicked together, and how you do that, you find other passionate people. And I remember when I first got to USC, I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm in a class. Okay, I gotta get with the smartest person. I gotta make sure we study, and I get notes from them. You know who ended up being the smartest person in the class, right? It was me. So when I'm looking out, because I was passionate, I'm like, I gotta get off the welfare. I gotta get off Section 8 with these nasty workers. I have something to do. So when they got tired, my passion carried me through. I wasn't quitting. Okay, you gave me a B, that was shade. I know homegirl didn't deserve an A, no problem, because I tutored her. I ran into things like that, where I've tutored other people all night long, and I watched them cheat because they wrote the answer on their arms, and they got a better grade than me. That happened to me twice at USC. Did I get mad and quit? I said, no, that's all right. I ain't done. I went back, and I still was passionate about where I was going. Never lose sight. And don't allow the systems to make you quit. I remember when I was in Linda Bridge class, it was another African-American guy in the class. There was a few, and they used to sit in the back and just cut up. And I remember they got their grades. And as they're walking, I hear them saying, oh, she just racist. She racist. I'm saying in my mind, this lady let my kids kind of come in here and be in the classroom during class time. I got a babysitter at the end of the classroom. She wasn't racist. But that was their thing. She's racist, she's racist, she's racist. And I'm like, no. She was a true educator, and she didn't discriminate against anyone, because I watched her put her heart into me. I watched her pour into me. I remember another professor in English, she was having a problem with an older woman in our classroom. I'm not going to say the professor's name. And the lady was just coming in belligerent. She was African-American, right? She on the phone, taking phone calls. I'm thinking, first of all, you did not answer that in the front of the class. That is so tacky. But she did. Hello? And I'm like, she answered the phone? And so the professor had a problem. She went to the English department and said she's racist. I said, no, she's not. And I went to the English department. I said, this woman has helped me. This professor has written recommendation letters for me. She's walked me through the process. I said, yeah, and my daughter called me one time during class, and she knew she wasn't trying to be slick. So I went to the professor and said, can my daughter write the paper? Because I only feared since she called me and she knew she wasn't supposed to. So my daughter wrote a paper. But I could have went and said, oh, she's racist. She made me write a paper because my phone rang. She knew my phone was new and it was my daughter. So this same lady kept coming back to the class. And so the professor said to me, she said, I'm kind of nervous for you because this lady, she seemed a little, aggressive. I said, don't let the glasses fool you. I'm trying to stay out of prison now. I said, but I had to go to the department and speak truth. Not everybody is racist. Sometimes people are going to be tough with us. But you have to be able to distinguish tough love and discrimination, because there is a difference. There's definitely a difference. And I don't have my clock. I don't want to make sure I go over time. Is that clock correct? Okay, we got an hour. Okay. Any other questions? Oh, take the mic.
There we go. Sorry. So earlier you spoke a bit about passion, and it's great to hear that you have a lot of passion. I'd like to know, now that you're successful, what continues to be your passion and what drives you to continue being successful?
You know what's so funny? You say successful, and everyone defines success differently. I consider myself somewhat successful, but I'm not completely successful until I help others. So that is my passion. My passion is every day to get up and encourage someone else and to help someone else to make sure that they make it. I came from an area where we call it crabs in a bucket. That's to let you know how old I am. That means all the crabs are at the bottom. And the minute one of the other crabs get to the top, someone pulls them down. See, that's the generation I came from, but that's not my mentality. So my passion is to make sure that I'm at the bottom of the bucket, pushing everybody up. So if I made it for a PhD, I expect you guys to have 2 PhDs. If I wrote a book, I want to see you guys write 2 books. If I'm teaching, I want to see you guys teach 2, 3, 4 classes. In other words, my passion is to make sure everyone else excels. And that's my get up in the morning. That's my get up this morning. Because this morning I cried on my way in the car. I'm like, my son is not with me. I said, but you know what? My son was proud of me. And my son used to always call me, Mama, you speaking today? Mama, you doing this? Are you teaching? That's my passion. My passion is to help everyone else. So once you harness your passion, it'll keep you going on the days when you want to quit. Because you're going to have some days you want to quit, but push anyway.
I don't have a question, but I have something to say to you. I want to say I'm thankful for my professor, Glick, for letting us know that there was an announcement going on right here in LBCC. I'm also grateful for being an LBCC student here, even though this is like my 3rd semester being here. But I also want to say that I'm so sorry that you lost your son, but I'm so grateful that you're here. I don't have kids, but I can just imagine the loss of your love of your life not being here with you right now. But he's up there, he's looking down on you, and he's so grateful because he has a mother who, throughout the daily basis that you have to go through, having 6 kids, and the fact that you had to go to prison and go back and out and in and out, and the fact that you sold drugs, and the fact that you had to suffer throughout your childhood being surrounded where your family ended up being in a bad situation. But I'm so grateful having and hearing a person like yourself who has a growth mindset because you wanted to continue not only for yourself but for your kids. Yeah. Like I said, I don't have kids, but when the day that I do, I want them to be inspired by me. I want them to see me as a successful person, as a successful mother, and a successful wife. I'm so grateful that you're here with us, even though you lost your son. I'm so grateful that you're actually up here speaking to the students over here who wants to be encouraged and be successful in their lives. I'm so proud of you. You have no idea how proud I am to you. So thank you. Thank you to my professor as well. Being so grateful that the fact that you made us stand up because we had no idea what's the reason of this exercise you made us do this morning. Yeah. You made us get up from our chair and clap, saying thank you for being here. Thank yourself for still being here. I'm 20 years old. I made a lot of mistakes throughout my life, but I've never made a lot of mistakes as you did. But hearing you saying that you actually had a different mindset, you encouraged me the reason why I still have to go back to school. Yeah. You encouraged me why my mother is always telling me to wake up every morning to go to school and to remind myself what's the reason why I have to go to school. Because my mother wants me to be educated. She wants me to be better in life. She doesn't want me to be ending up being in that situation where she had to literally suffer a lot throughout her childhood, and she didn't want that for me, for my life. So I'm grateful for the fact that you're doing this for not only for yourself, but for your kids. So thank you.
Thank you. The one thing I can say that I'm grateful about my kids were, half of them were they were gracious kids, you know, and Marcus definitely loved what I did. He was excited. Marquise is excited about what I do. That's my niece back there. She's my free assistant because I don't pay her yet until we blow up. They're excited about what I do. And so I'm thinking, so many people have helped me along the way. Why would I be selfish and keep that? Why wouldn't I come share that? Why wouldn't I come encourage somebody or to give somebody a toolbox or add tools into the toolbox that you already have, or to help you find your skills with your tools. So thank you so much. Because I kept telling myself, I'm not going to get up there and cry. But I love students, and I love to encourage people. We had some hand back there. Oh.
Actually, Alicia, I think we have to move to the book signing. Okay. And my understanding is we have to go across the courtyard to the room right across here for the book signing. We're going to have to move everything, unfortunately, because another event is going to happen here at 11:30. But before we go there, I have something for Alicia.
Thank you. My son grabbing the bag. Oh my God. I'm not sharing this with you, son. I'm going to represent. Oh my gosh. This is gorgeous. And I never had one. Thank you guys so much. Here, do that. And if,
There's one more thing in there. For that long commute.
Yes. This is cool. And if there's, anyone have any additional questions, feel free. I'm open. My website, you guys can, I'm on Instagram finally. Facebook, you can always, send me a message. I have my phone back there. We have our website. So if you ever need help, you're stuck, you just want to talk, you want some encouragement, you like this seemed dumb, I'm going to go, it probably is, and we're going to get through it together and you're going to finish. So, I'll be over there if anyone want to ask any other questions.
Thank you so much for coming out.